Stereotypes, sort of.
Sort of.
Sort of stereotypes. So you didn't ask me why I'm all dressed up today.
Yes, I did.
No.
I thought I know why you're out.
Oh, okay. So that's why you didn't have to ask me.
That's right. I know you're going to GBH. You also shaved. So I always know that's true.
That's right. It's Dan usually leaves from here and gets TV ready.
Right.
Right. Which really I should.
Some of us, of course, were born TV ready, Dan.
Yes, sir. How funny you are. You're a funny man, Jimmy.
I try to be funny.
So do we have everything? You know what we're doing?
I kind of do, yeah.
Kind of? I think we're yes. I think we're ready. Don't you think so?
Yes.
Okay. As ready as we will ever be.
Yes.
Hit it.
You're tuned in to Behind the Media. Dan Lothian and Jimmy Young bring 70 years of award-winning broadcast experience to the table. From newsrooms across the country, behind anchor desks, and in the field, they've seen and covered it all, and now they are here to take you behind the media.
You're going to have to embrace technology. If you're an educator,
I'm embracing it.
I want you to use the phone to help teach these kids.
You don't need to do that. I was covering the president in China, and we did a behind-the-scenes video. This is a gong, or
no, not a gong, a bong.
A bong.
With a B.
So that's right. Did I say
the
gong?
Gong is a
that's
gong
right.
show.
I said gong.
Gong
bong.
makes noise.
Bong. Why is it, Jimmy? Why?
Because sex sells, Dan.
True, but it's only part of the answer. It is. You have to be more creative now to be able to tell a story, and sometimes it's just a before and after picture and saying which one do you want to be. They call it the Nerd Prom. Big-time Washington reporters and Hollywood A-listers gather to eat, laugh, and cause controversy. We're talking about the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner. Is it time for this tired relic to go extinct?
Yes. He made us laugh. Hey, hey, hey. And think in the 80s. But Bill Cosby is now a guilty man, a disgraced television icon, and how the media has covered his demise.
What is the saying? Loose lips sink ships? That's almost a tongue twister. How about a loose song? Humming on a hot mic. The funny tune that got a big-time executive in hot water.
And bites behind the media. Twitter is telling us users to change your passwords. Of course, it's assuming we remember what it is. And when bad news and big ad campaign collide, why also do some NFL cheerleaders feel victimized?
It's a serious story, so we'll get back to that in just a moment. But first, the bell! Hello, everybody. It's time to work out, stretch, loosen up, and grab some bottled water. This Week in Media will make you sweat. This is Behind the Media Podcast. I'm Dan Lothian.
And I'm Jimmy Young.
We find the interesting in media so you don't have to go digging around for it. Like us on Facebook, use the hashtag Behind the Media to engage with us on Twitter, and listen on iTunes and the CLNS Media Network. Today's episode is powered by Mack Weldon. It's a premium men's essentials brand. For 20% off your first order, visit MackWeldon.com and enter promo code CLNS at checkout. We're also powered by Little Part Media, where ideas come to life, producing corporate videos and podcasts to tell your story. For more, check out littlepartmedia.com or contact info@littlepartmedia.com. So, they call it the Nerd Prom. Big-time Washington reporters and Hollywood A-listers gathering to eat, to hang out, schmooze, just feel important, and now cause controversy. Although this isn't the first time, Jimmy. This has been going on for a long time, where a comedian comes in to put on the show and says something, or even the president. You remember President Obama said something about someone named Donald Trump. Hey, there you go. I took care of you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Pritchard.
I took care of you.
You said his name, not me.
Yes, and he got all upset. But this time is getting, there's a lot of heat around this particular White House.
It's because everybody is so sensitive, and also the type of humor that was on display. Now,
wait. Everybody's so sensitive. Jimmy, are you taking a position? Are you saying that they are sensitive about this particular issue, or are you just saying in general people are more sensitive?
In general, people are more sensitive.
Okay.
And we've also get into the hateful doctrine and all this, and how people are uncomfortable. And anyway, but I got to ask the burning question, since you started with your tease.
Yes, sir.
Nerd Prom.
Yes.
First of all, why do they call it the nerd prom? And B, were you a nerd at your prom? Did you go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner? Since you were one?
Well, thank you that you asked, Mr.
Since
Jimmy,
you were one.
or Reverend Jimmy. That's a great question. The nerd prom, I think it was kind of this nerdy thing, us nerds, these people who are covering wonky things on a regular basis, and then they get cleaned up and, wear their penguin suits, and the women put on the big, fancy poofy dresses, and they get to do this once a year. I believe that's what I should actually do some I didn't know you were going to blindside me with a question
that's
like
what
that.
I do here, actually.
But I think it sounds pretty convincing, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. That makes some sense that nerd was synonymous with media.
Right. Well,
people in the media are nerds.
Well, people in Washington media are nerds.
Washington,
they're
Washington
wonky.
media.
Right. They're wonky people, right?
Okay, wonky people.
Yeah, wonky people, and they're dealing with these heady issues on a day in, day out basis. But once a year, you can put makeup on and high heel shoes. Not me, but I guess anybody can wear high heel shoes.
You don't need any more height. I just want to say.
Although when I was young playing basketball, I thought
every inch mattered.
Every inch mattered.
That's
but anyway, we digress.
We always do.
Yes. But to your question of whether or not I have done this before, yes, I have been to either, I think 4, because one I was ill and could not make it to the very first one. I couldn't make it to. But I think when from the outside you look at these events and you say, "Wow, this is an incredible event."
Insiders.
Right? You want to be there. You want to see it. And I have to say that until recent years, it wasn't televised the way that there was always a video that would be released, but they weren't doing wall-to-wall coverage the way that you have it now. And so, anyway, yes.
That changes things immediately because it is an uncensored monologue that the comedian or comedian.
Right. I mean, I think C-SPAN would always, run the whole thing. But the red carpet treatment, some of the stuff that we've seen over the last 5 years or so, where they're interviewing people going in, and the presence of Hollywood has been much more than in the past. So this thing has become taking on a life of its own. And from the outside, it was always impressive. But to be part of it, I know the first year I was walking around pinching myself saying, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm here." And oh, that's so and so, or there was one person who was next to me the whole time during one of these dinners.
Who? Pray tell.
Judd. Not Naomi Judd, the other one.
Ashley
Judd.
Now that's an interesting guest at your table.
Yes, in the
middle of the Me Too movement, I might add.
Exactly.
Yes.
So she was beside me the whole time, and we had it was great conversation. I have lots of pictures of us together.
Nice.
And you're there, and you're going, "Wow, this is surreal." It's a wonderful thing. And then what a lot of people don't realize, that's only part of it, because it really lasts for an entire week, where you're going to different events, and it's at the foundation of it, it's supposed to be about scholarships
and celebrating media and free speech.
Exactly.
Right.
So there are awards for some professional journalists. There are also awards for up-and-coming young journalists as well. And I've been part of some of the sessions, the panels, where you get a chance to talk about whatever issue it is, and they get to ask you questions. So that's really what it's all about.
Do you know if those panels are now live streamed or covered?
I'm sure they are. Yeah. I don't know, because I have not been paying attention over the last couple of years.
The invitation has been rescinded. Is that what you're saying? Did Ashley Judd say something about this? You're no longer,
It is a hot ticket. It got to the point where even some of the White House producers were on a rotation and did not get to go every year, because it was such a hot ticket that the executives from the front office and the friends of the executives from the front office would fly in for this event. But it really is more than just that one night. And then, of course, it all culminates with these great after parties that people fight like crazy to get on the list in order to experience, fanciness.
And an opportunity to take pictures and selfies.
Exactly.
And roll on some embarrassing video of some of these stars.
Exactly.
But the controversy this week was about the comedian Michelle Wolf.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, first of all, I'll admit,
liberal, being that you drive in the left-hand lane, only make left turns.
I would know,
and don't even have right wheels on your car.
And I'm old.
Yeah.
Okay, let's cut to the chase. I'm old.
Well, I don't think anybody knew who she was.
Well, I think actually
I mean,
do.
a few people
She
did.
has a following. She's
Well,
in her early 30s.
I'm sure she
she's
has a
on the
following.
Comedy Channel.
Well,
She's
yeah.
been on all the late night
Okay,
shows.
let's
And when
put it
I
this-
was younger, by the way, I used to
watch
actually
those.
stay up and
You
watch
can't
them.
stay up that late
actually,
anymore.
no, not anymore. Well, don't forget, back in the day when you did the 11 o'clock news,
Then
you
you
would
were
come home
wired.
and you'd be wired. You couldn't
Yes.
go to sleep
No,
before
no.
2 a.m.
Had to have a
You
snack
just-
and then stay up for a couple hours.
So you're up until 2 a.m.
Exactly.
And of course, you never did go to the watering holes.
I did go to the watering hose. I just didn't water when I got there.
You had water, actually,
exactly.
as opposed to an alcoholic beverage,
Right,
an
exactly.
adult beverage, which we understand, and I appreciate and respect. So it was comedy, and it was her monologue, and it was. I have now listened to the entire thing.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
and I took some notes.
Okay.
and I actually thought
Impart upon me your wisdom from those notes, Reverend.
and I've also looked at some of the fallout,
yeah,
the
the
Megyn
comments
Kelly
and-
and the various,
yeah,
which
okay.
I thought was interesting. Okay, so the best line.
Yes.
Congratulations, CNN, because you're always so happy about breaking news. Well, you've broken the news.
news, yes.
I
Okay,
thought that
good.
was brilliant, actually,
Okay.
and very clever. And the way I believe the comedy is supposed to be, with let's poke fun at ourselves, the
she,
media.
And she did the one, and maybe I'm jumping on your list right here, but she did the one about
Printed
how
media?
how everybody really loves Donald Trump. How it's like, oh, you guys complain. What he's basically made ratings for you or whatever, and you guys love this as
Right.
much as you complain about it. I think she's right on with that.
And no question about it that
Yeah.
the POTUS has made for great copy, as they say.
Yes.
Okay.
And videotape, but we don't use videotape anymore. So digital filing.
Digital filing. That's right. Digital filing. Digital
That's
content.
like-
I think.
digital filing feels like something when you put your fingers in there and get them filed digitally.
No. I don't do that.
No,
anyway,
I don't either. I don't
calling
think
the
anyone
printed media news an endangered species.
That was
I thought
good.
was clever
That was
too. Again,
clever. Sad.
well,
Sad, but true.
sometimes the truth hurts.
It
Dan.
does, and I'm hurting right now.
Okay. That being said, I did find her to be crass.
The abortion one,
Bad.
over the line.
Yeah,
Over the line.
totally over. Well,
I won't
this is
even
the
repeat
thing
that
about
one.
comedy.
Yes.
Okay. You got to know your audience.
Yes.
Now that the audience is no longer just in the room,
Right.
you really do have to be conscious of the fact that the whole world could be watching and listening, and you are bound to insult somebody or anger somebody.
But my sense is that when they do these kinds of things, part of being a comedian is having people buzz about you after your performance. And so
They buzzed.
Right. It was a buzz saw.
Yeah.
I think in you want to put some edgy stuff in there so it makes headlines. The question is, how edgy do you get? And I think she got too edgy.
Well, I think that's always it. It's like, where is that edge? Where is that tipping point? And she definitely went over the line a few times. The comments about Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who was sitting literally maybe 10 feet away from her at the podium,
exactly,
you could sense being the uncomfortable.
Yes.
Look, this is the problem with words, Dan.
Yes.
Words can hurt.
Yeah, it's not just sticks and stones thing.
Words
yeah.
can hurt,
Yep.
especially when you're embarrassing someone.
Right.
I've always found that was the one thing I try to avoid as much. I can be embarrassed and laugh at myself when I do something stupid or silly.
But this was about her body. It appeared to be about her image, her
It was
body
personal.
image. It was personal.
Not
It was
professional.
Right.
And that was probably the first lesson I learned as a young journalist up in Portland, Maine, when my boss, Frank Fixeris, the late Frank Fixeris, and he would teach me that there is a line between the personal and the professional and the public even.
Right. Well,
So you really don't want to, you try not to cross that line.
yeah, and
she crossed the line.
She crossed the line.
A few times, let's just say. And it wasn't just Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I mean, she went after Mike Pence. She definitely made fun of the president. Who doesn't?
Yeah, right.
Come on. It's
And
national pastime.
And that's fine, but I think that you have to I think the defense that has come to her, like people like you, Jimmy, have said, well, that's what you're supposed to do at these kinds of events. And really, doesn't Donald Trump and his folks do the same thing all the time? And my answer to that is, you can't stoop to the level. You're a journalist, and she's not a journalist, so the comedian isn't. So I'm not really knocking her. I'm knocking the White House Correspondents Association and my good friend Margaret Tellov, who is the one who invited her to come and to perform,
and I saw her apologize to Sarah Huckabee Sanders immediately after.
And you know what you're getting. Yep. The reason you get someone like that is because you know they're going to make headlines. But she should have known better. At least walked her back from taking a look at some of these jokes and walked her back from some of them.
She did not have a chance to look at that, nor did she.
But I'm saying that they should have, because here's the problem, Jimmy.
Yep.
In this current climate, where everything that reporters do, journalists are doing, especially Washington journalists, it's under the microscope, already being viewed sideways by at least half of the population. We are the most hated, up there with used car salesmen and lawyers. Wow. We are the most hated profession in the country.
Yep.
And so given the current climate, you have to be sensitive to these kinds of things, because essentially now people will say, oh, okay, so you weren't the one giving the jokes, but you were in the audience laughing. We saw that cutaway.
By the way,
or you were in the audience, period.
I was going to say, there was not a lot of laughing.
No, there wasn't.
Okay,
but
the comedian is supposed to make people laugh.
That's true.
And learn perhaps to laugh at themselves, but that just didn't happen.
But the fact that they were invited by the White House Correspondents Association, or she was invited to come and perform, and it was this kind of performance, I think people have a legitimate case to make that it's those liberal journalists who are just mocking the president and his administration in a level that's
fed the fire.
It fed the fire, and it was below the belt.
Yeah, and I saw your friend, the Margaret.
Yeah.
Talk about
By
this.
the way, we used to be jogging buddies. When we'd go on the road together,
Nice.
we would go on long runs. It was a way we stayed in shape.
Nice.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm not going to say anything about that. That being said,
Wait. What do you mean you're not going to say anything?
I'm glad that you were able to jog.
Did you want to say something?
No, it would have been a negative thing.
About me?
No, about her.
Oh, but you don't know her.
I don't. I just saw pictures of her.
Oh, you were going to do that?
I didn't say it, but I
can't believe you went there,
away.
Jimmy.
I used my edit function, Dan.
You did, actually.
I used my edit function, so don't make me go back.
Okay, good. I won't. No, I'm
because I'm going to defend her, and then I'm going to question her.
Okay.
So if this is a celebration of free speech and fighting censorship, and it's supposed to create unity amongst the journalist field, I don't think having the comedian there at that point did that.
No,
and in fact,
it blowed it up.
It blowed it up. And if you take her out of that, if you take away the 15 or 20-minute monologue, isn't it a great event anyway?
Well, so
her speech was great. Margaret's speech was great.
Well, so now here's a second conversation for us to have.
Yes.
To answer
is
that
it
question.
Entertainment or is it a celebration?
Well, it's less about that. And it's more about this whole thing is getting kind of tired. And part of it is that one of the big controversies a few years ago was that Hollywood was taking this over. So you have these parties where you can get these wonderful gift bags. You know, those are, I've gotten some really good
swag.
Those swag bags are so big. Sometimes you need to get a cart to wheel all that stuff out. They give you like really nice bags to put the swag in.
Yep.
But where I thought it went awry was when they set up, as they do for the Oscars and the Grammys. I've been to some of these where they have a room where you go, and it's a store. And by invitation, you can go in there and you can have anything you want in the store. And so that's different, right? That's different from just getting a swag bag where everyone who attends gets to have it. This is a special invitation to come. And the whole idea is to get you to get something and to influence the buying of that thing by wearing it or talking about it, whatever it may be, that is completely against everything that journalism is about. So when that started seeping into Washington, there was a lot of pushback, and there were a lot of organizations boycotting those special swag rooms,
right?
Those kinds of operations. But that's when you really heard the whole conversation about, has this thing gotten out of control? Is it more than we should be a part of? And that was a legitimate conversation then. And I think even more today.
Maybe you should change that from the White House Correspondents to the Washington Correspondents Dinner.
It could be, or not even have
change.
Just say the Washington Dinner, and that's fine.
Dinner,
but then it's something else. But once you tie it to journalism, and it's all about the real journalism, And yet, when the takeaway that people have every time is some.
What did that person's? Can you believe what I heard that Michelle Wolf said that night?
Exactly.
Did you hear that?
Then everything else has been lost.
Exactly right. So 15 minutes ruins 4 hours of celebration.
I couldn't have said it better, Jimmy.
I wrote that down actually. And
you self-plagiarized?
A little bit. A little bit. And then that's why I have notes. And the last thing I want to talk about is the reaction. And Stephanie Gosk,
yes,
reporter for NBC.
For NBC. Yep.
She was on with Megyn Kelly. And I got to tell you, she said something that I agree 100% with. There's this, we've been talking about the tension, the division, the hostility that exists in this country. Yeah. And you know who I point the finger at.
We already mentioned him. So
I know we already mentioned him, but, she's fed up with it. And that's what she said. She goes, I'm just tired of it. She's tired of the negativity. She's tired of everybody beating up on everybody else. And I'm tired of it even in our little backyard here in our Boston, Massachusetts area, listening to my friends in sports radio rip each other.
Well, you have to stop listening to that.
I know. I'm trying. You know what? I feel obligated to do it.
Why? No,
I just have to test just to see if they've changed. And also to see if Kirk Minahan's been fired yet. But anyway, that being said.
So you enjoy the craziness. That's the reason they do it, because of people like you.
No, but I turn it off. It turns me off.
And then you turn it back on the next day.
I would rather, and they say, we don't want to talk about, whether you should have pinch hit or bunted in that situation. I'm like, okay, so let's talk about the Washington football team's logo or their mascot. Oh, no. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, let's not go there.
Okay, but my point is, or how about a situation in sports that arises that has different, you can look at things differently in a strategic mode, or why aren't we seeing this instead of that in sport?
He's winding up. This is what happens to preachers on Sunday morning when they got something that they read in the week, and all of a sudden a baby cries in the audience, and the preacher winds up and just takes off. Hallelujah, brother.
Thank you. Hallelujah.
Good job. So you made your point?
I made my point. I'm ready. Move on.
By the way, if you like this episode, let us know. Like us on Facebook. Use the hashtag #BehindTheMedia to engage with us on Twitter. Have any questions or comments? Let us know at info@littlepartmedia.com. That's info@littlepartmedia.com. He made us laugh and think back in the 80s. Not that we didn't think beyond that. But Bill Cosby is now a guilty man. This is Behind the Media. I'm Dan Lothian.
And I'm Jimmy Young.
We find the interesting in media so you don't have to go searching for it. Like us on Facebook. Use the hashtag Behind the Media to engage with us on Twitter. And listen on iTunes and the CLNS Media Network. Today's episode is powered by Mack Weldon. It's a premium men's essentials brand. For 20% off your first order, visit MackWeldon.com and enter promo code CLNS at checkout. We're also powered by Little Part Media, where ideas come to life, producing corporate videos and podcasts to tell your story. For more, check out littlepartmedia.com or contact info@littlepartmedia.com. So, Bill Cosby, he was a funny man, and now it's just a tragic story. Billy, I was going to call you Billy. Jimmy.
I've been called a lot by Billy, Steve, Mike.
Bill, I would say Bill Cosby, now Billy, Jimmy.
I get you. But I knew where you were going.
Here, what I loved about the Cosby Show was at the time that I was growing up, I certainly had not seen on television, nor had most of America seen on television, a black family that was portrayed in a positive way, where the parents are professional. Not to say that people can't, black families can't be great without profession, but up to that point, we had only seen working class families or poor.
It wasn't Sanford and Son.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
It was identical to what happened in white families, except it was a black family. And I think it was a wonderful statement that a show like that made.
Absolutely.
And I loved the show, even though I grew up without television. But when I could watch it, I would find a way to watch it. And it was uplifting and funny. And Bill Cosby was able, he was famous before that as a comedian.
Right.
But that was really when he got into everybody's living room and people fell in love with him. And of course, he had all the books and everything, just an icon. And then the rumors started, right? Or at least I wasn't part of Hollywood. People may have known more a long time ago.
Yep.
And then it eventually, ends up in the courts, and he gets acquitted.
It should have ended up in the court because he was committing crimes.
He was.
Just say,
he
I'm
was.
sorry,
but he had to get caught first.
Yes,
he
did.
And he finally did, and he finally was convicted on 3 counts.
He's 80 years old.
80 years old.
His health is failing.
Exactly. So I guess there's some question as to whether he'll spend time in jail.
In jail, or some kind of a house arrest, or something like that, an ankle bracelet. Look, when you're a public figure, when you get convicted, the embarrassment that it causes you, the financial hardship that it causes you is, I don't want to say it's worse than being in jail, because it's not very good to be in jail, but it really can hurt more. And, I'm amazed that the Camille, his wife, has come to the defense of her husband to the nth degree as she has.
Yeah, I mean, she essentially is blaming,
and she made a comparison that is really uncomfortable. But go ahead.
No, I mean, she was taking a swipe at the media, certainly at the victims themselves as well. And some of the witnesses, she was going after them, saying that they gave false testimony. But she also pointed out that she thought that the media violated the Constitution in its coverage of the story.
I
don't quite,
How do you cover a story like this? And the facts themselves, Dan, tell the story. And it's not, by the way, this is not a rare event.
No,
this
it
is
isn't.
Another
no, it isn't. You're right.
Powerful man
who took advantage,
abusing his personality, his power, his prestige, his stardom, to take advantage of other people without. I mean, there are people who take advantage of people all the time. Lance Armstrong is a great example, by the way. Someone who's ruined other people's lives, and lied about it, forever. There are plenty of other examples, but in this particular case, because there was crimes involved. It's one thing to be nasty to someone. It's another thing to actually take advantage and assault them. Mm-hmm. And that, no. Should he go to jail? Yeah, it's going to be some kind of a nursing home jail.
Right.
But he, you know what? He should pay for this. And if he spends a year in jail, people are going to feel better about this. And again, I give women credit for finally having the confidence to come out and say these things and fight for, what they believe in.
And the thing is, that's where the focus should be. And I think that, when there's a conviction like this, and granted, I haven't been through something like this, so I can't really say how I would respond if I had a loved one who was in a situation like that. I think that I would not necessarily jump to their defense, especially if you see that the evidence is clear, and you just have to abide by what the decision is, right? Mm-hmm. But to then shift it from the victims to the media, and to say that the media helped to sort of fuel this mob justice, right, of out to get him kind of thing. One of the things that I've always complained about is that big stars, and now, Bill Cosby included in this, they will exploit the medium, publicity, marketing, however you want to say
absolutely.
It, when things are positive.
Right.
It's a wonderful medium.
Right.
We love the journalists who come and talk about all the great things we're doing. The minute that they're covering you as legitimate journalists covering a story, and you are on the receiving end of some very negative news, they're horrible
because
people.
Of poor behavior. Your poor behavior.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now all of a sudden it's a bad thing, and they're violating your constitutional, rights or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where that went.
Right, and that makes it's that's where I kind of scratch my head, and it's just about do some of the Hollywood kinds of tabloid shows go a little too far in how they go after these stories, chasing people down the sidewalk, invading, going on to private property, buying, questionable video, putting stuff up online without a whole lot of context to it. Yes, these things do happen. It's part of this free world that we live in. So, that's how it works. But it is hard for me to see how, as a news organization, an established news organization, covering a story about an individual who now clearly did these things and has been convicted of them, how you can now turn the lens on the reporters as opposed to saying, you know what, I'm sorry that I stood by I'm sorry, maybe you don't want to say stood by, I'm sorry that I didn't know this was happening and couldn't have done anything to stop it.
Yep. And Camille was comparing this and calling it mob justice.
Mob justice, yeah.
And, where's the mob in this? The media? is the mob? Is the media the mob on this?
I think media fuels the mob.
Or is it the public? Right, because all the media is doing is telling horrific stories about men behaving badly during a time when they could get away with it because so many others were doing it around them. Harvey Weinstein, and there's a few others out there that, are being accused of this as well. And, again, it goes back to this paradox of the macho man that we've got to somehow or other break and call our fellow men out on it when we see bad behavior by a male. And we'll get into this a little bit later, too, because there's another example of it involving
bad behavior.
Men and cheerleaders.
Yes, but I think this industry has been, certainly on the entertainment side, but we've seen on the news side with what's going on over at NBC, that this was it's sad, but I think it was part of the culture. And if you come up through the culture, and I'm not justifying it, I'm just pointing out historically, here are the facts.
Explain why this happened.
So you grow up in a culture where you see that's how it works. And then people try it and nothing happens. And you try it again and nothing happens. And now it becomes a part of who you are, right? Because you can get away with it. And nobody goes and reports it because everyone is scared about the power that you wield over them in particular, or a number of people, a group of people, whatever it may be. And so I think this is good. I think what is happening here, it's tragic. But I think it's good that the system is cleaning itself out. I don't know that it's going to, certainly in the industry, whether it's news or entertainment, I don't know that it's going to fix the problem. But a conviction like this perhaps will make people think, at least for a few more years, it'll make them think, oh no, if I do this, I could end up in jail, or I could end up being convicted. And maybe that will scare someone straight. But it's not the media's fault for covering these kinds of stories. It's the people who actually commit the crimes.
Yeah. I'd like to get into a discussion sometime about the prison system in the United States.
No, you can't.
At some point.
No,
we will
can't.
do it.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
It's your show.
No, but you can do that if you want.
I
changed my mind. Yes.
All right, fair
but
enough.
Not today, though.
We don't rehab our prisoners.
No.
That's the problem.
No, we don't.
Sorry.
We just lock them up.
Yes, we do.
And if you like this episode, let us know. Like us on Facebook. Use the hashtag #BehindTheMedia to engage with us on Twitter. Have any questions or comments, let us know at info@littlepartmedia.com. That's info@littlepartmedia.com. So today's episode is powered by Mack Weldon. It's a premium men's essentials brand. For 20% off your first order, visit MackWeldon.com. Enter promo code CLNS at checkout. Whatever you're wearing right now, Jimmy, if it ain't Mack Weldon, it ain't good.
So let me tell you a secret.
Oh, man. No.
No, I'm not wearing it. I am not wearing it yet.
What are you wearing, Jimmy?
I'm wearing my normal boxer briefs. If you really want to care, care. That being said,
someday
I have heard amazing things about this product now, because now I've checked it out. I've gone to the website, and I am totally going to check out and put CLNS Media in my promo code.
20%.
You're darn right, I will.
You get it for free. Mack Weldon believes in smart designs, premium fabrics, and simple shopping.
If they send me free stuff, I'll wear it on this show.
And what are some of those free things that are very comfortable? We're talking about underwear and socks and shirts, undershirts, hoodies, sweatpants. I'll tell you, it is the best way to feel good below the surface.
That's what I hear.
Yes,
and I can't wait to try.
Exactly. So again, it's a premium men's essentials brand. For 20% off your first order, again, visit MackWeldon.com. Enter promo code CLNS at checkout. Also, this halftime show and the entire show is brought to you by Little Part Media, where ideas come to life, producing corporate videos and podcasts to tell your story. For more, check out littlepartmedia.com or contact info@littlepartmedia.com. So what is the saying, loose lips sink ships? How about a song? This is Behind the Media. I'm Dan Lothian.
And I'm Jimmy Young.
We find the interesting in media so you don't have to go searching for it. Like us on Facebook. Use the hashtag Behind the Media to engage with us on Twitter. And listen on iTunes and the CLNS Media Network. Today's episode is powered by Mack Weldon. It's a premium men's essentials brand. For 20% off your first order, visit MackWeldon.com and enter promo code CLNS at checkout. We're also powered by Little Part Media, where ideas come to life, producing corporate videos and podcasts to tell your story. For more, check out littlepartmedia.com or contact info@littlepartmedia.com. So this story, when I saw it, when I heard about it, and then went looking for it, and then played it, I thought it was a funny story of the week.
Well, go ahead. Tell the story, Dan, and I'll sing the tune. We're in the money.
Wait.
I'm sorry.
You just said tell the story, and I'll sing the tune.
And
did you mean that you were going to sing the tune as I told the story?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of an accompaniment.
I thought I was going to sort of set it up, and then you would start singing.
Yes. Well, had we been rehearsing this before Behind the Media,
yes,
perhaps we would have shown.
I didn't write on the script, cue Jimmy to start singing the
song.
Steve,
rewind the tape.
That's right.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. By the way, we'll post this video. We'll post a link on our Facebook site so that you can check it out.
And we have a YouTube channel Behind the Media, by the way.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, we do, actually. And it'd be nice if someone would subscribe to it.
Yes, subscribe to it, yes.
But it's on CLNSmedias.com.
Exactly.
On their YouTube channel.
So here's the story. He's the CEO of the British supermarket chain called Sainsbury. I have not heard of Sainsbury. Have you?
When was the last time you were in a supermarket in Britain?
Well, it's been a while.
Thank you.
So it could be a new one. But my wife actually lived there for a while.
Okay.
But I've never heard of Sainsbury in London. Anyway, he had to was that good or not?
It actually was very good.
Thank you. So he had to apologize. He was caught on camera singing. Not yet, Jimmy. Almost. He was happy. He was giddy.
Well, he was happy because he just made $1 gazillion.
That's right. His company had just purchased Walmart's British unit, which I guess it's called Asda. And so he was on a financial show, getting ready, getting prepped, sitting there in the hot seat, lights on, and a lot of times people will say things, talk to themselves, motivate themselves. They're
trying to relax.
Trying to relax. If you don't go on TV, or even if you do TV a lot, sometimes you just want to relax so that
absolutely
what comes out doesn't sound like you're being chased by a rhino. And so, why rhino? I don't know. That just sounded funny.
It's not something I'd ever want to be.
You don't want to chase by.
I just want to
say. But anyway, so the guy's sitting there. With a hot mic, as we call it, where the mic is on, but he's not on the air.
Well, this is, again, let's go behind the media here for a second.
Again,
tell people, even though you don't see it on your screen, there are files, digital files being created behind the scenes.
Right.
And usually when a camera is on you, they're rolling on it. They're rolling on it. And the camera's recording it, and it's just out there. And you really, truly, the only people who have access to it are the engineers and the producers, perhaps, behind the scene. And all
Although, what's interesting is back in the day, prior to doing it the way that we do it now, is that it used to go up on the satellite.
Right.
And so you could just, before they started, encrypting and coding, whatever they were doing, you could just dial along on your satellite dish, and you could watch the feeds that were coming out of the various networks.
And I'm going to tell you a little anecdote.
Yes.
Okay, back in the day, when I had my own show, and Mike Adams, his show, which was 10 times funnier than my show, just for the record. Okay, they would record Asian reporters
sitting around waiting to go live.
Practicing and doing their thing, and then show it, and of course make fun of the reporters.
Why
not really
Asian
knowing
reporters?
Because it's what they had access to. I don't think it was anything purpose.
Yeah, it sounds
on
like
purpose. No,
I think we need to investigate that.
It could be German
Racism.
reporters. It could be Lithuanian. It could be Russian report. I don't care. It was
Russian. We would want to do that. We could spy on them.
They're actually doing that on us. Anyway, that being said, it was a funny thing to watch the outtakes of the live shots before they go live.
Right. So this guy, he's sitting there, just kind of, and then he starts humming to himself. Cue.
We're in the money. I'm in the money.
Well, no.
Wasn't that the song?
Yes, but that's not how the tune goes.
Well, how's the tune go?
Well, I don't know.
I saw it like once on the Today Show, and I'm supposed to remember
You don't know what the song is? There is a real song.
I know there's a real song.
Right,
what is it from? Like
one of the Cats? Or no, it's not Cats.
No, it's not a Broadway. It's not a Broadway show. It's an old movie.
We should know that.
No, we shouldn't.
Well, I know the song.
I've never been in the money.
way the tune goes. The way the tune
goes. I'm without
is,
money, and I'm going to keep singing that.
The way it is. Dun dun da da da.
Right.
Dun dun da da da. Dun dun da 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 da. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
we're
that's
in the money.
So you were off key, is what it was.
Oh, what a shock that is!
Right. So normally this would not be anything that would get attention. Although somebody picked up on the fact that, oh, wait a minute, this guy just sealed a big deal.
Right.
And as opposed to thinking, and they're probably going to end up chopping jobs, which is usually what happens when there's some kind of a merger or takeover.
Right.
And so people are anxious at a time when a big deal like that happens because they knew redundancy is the one thing that everybody targets like that. And in the midst of that, there's this guy counting his stocks on air or his value in the company. And that's what got him. It was great, a great catch for the person who saw it and thought about it and put it out there.
What's the lesson, Dan?
Well, the lesson is shut your mouth and keep it in your head. That's the lesson.
Yeah, especially when you are around.
Anytime you're around a live mic or a hot camera, realize that it could go somewhere. And so none of this, are we on? Are we off? Yeah, I really hate that part. No, if you're in front of a microphone or in front of a camera, keep your mouth shut.
We'll do it live. Isn't that the best one, Bill O'Reilly? We'll do it live. And then F-bombs everywhere.
You don't want that to happen. Yeah.
No.
Now, I will point out that if I were running media training for executives 101 or graduate program, this guy would be a big
perfect example.
He would be
a great not to do.
No, of what to do after the fact.
Oh, after the fact. Oh, no, crisis communication 101.
Yes. Did you see he talked about it? He goes, you know what? It was nothing. I had gone and I'd seen the movie recently.
Right.
It was in my, what they call it, an earworm, where a tune gets stuck in your head.
Yep.
It had been there, and he was just sitting. He goes, I was just trying to relax. And then he went off from there. It was a wonderful transition to, I think that this is a great opportunity business-wise. He launched into that business speech about how, this is going to be good for the worker and all. I thought that he didn't run from the cameras and say,
he spun it to make it a negative out of a positive.
He smiled.
Positive out of a negative.
Yeah,
positive out of a negative.
You did not see stress on his face.
No.
It was very pleasant, and it's like, you know what? This happened. It's not what people think it was. Here's what my explanation is, and here's what I wanted the message to be about, and which is this is going to be good for the economy. It's going to be good for the worker.
And now, just think about it. You and I are now talking about this supermarket chain in England that we never heard of. If we ever get a chance to go back there, we'll probably want to go shop there.
I will go to the British version of Sainsbury, and I'll buy me a blueberry.
There you go.
Yes. Anyway, I found it funny. I thought you did, right? What about you, Stephen? Did you think it was a funny story? Stephen,
he's easily amused.
Yeah, he's like these millennials.
Yeah, after all, he laughs at us.
Yeah. If you are laughing along with us, let us know. Like us on Facebook. Use the hashtag Behind the Media to engage with us on Twitter. If you have any questions or you'd like to comment about something that Jimmy said, then let us know at info@littlepartmedia.com. That's info@littlepartmedia.com.
Oh, are you telling me to ring the bell now?
Yes, ring the bell.
After you take a shot at me like that?
I didn't shot at
No. It was actually
I didn't ring your bell.
No.
You rang the bell.
It was funny.
It's the fourth quarter, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Bites Behind the Media. If you can't eat the whole meal, we'll just give you a few tiny, delicious pieces. I'm Dan Lothian.
And I'm Jimmy Young.
This is Behind the Media. Like us on Facebook. Use the hashtag Behind the Media to engage with us on Twitter. And listen on iTunes and the CLNS Media Network. Today's episode is powered by Mack Weldon. It's a premium men's essentials brand. For 20% off your first order, visit MackWeldon.com and enter promo code CLNS at checkout. We're also powered by Little Part Media, where ideas come to life, producing corporate videos and podcasts to tell your story. For more, check out littlepartmedia.com or contact info@littlepartmedia.com. Okay, Jimmy, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Twitter.
Change your password.
I don't even know what my password is.
And by the way,
every time I got to go look it up.
How challenging is, and I have rotating passwords, just in case anybody wants to hack into my account.
Yeah, don't tell us what they are.
I'm not going to tell you what they are.
Then you have to go and change everything.
It's, let's just say they are easy to remember in my own brain.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
But if you ask me right now, I would guess what it would be.
I could sort of guess, but I don't know mine.
But I guess they're doing
like stuff.
But this is also, I give Twitter credit here.
Yeah.
They're being proactive in case they feel like there may be a hack of their information or whatever. Right. So they're saying, you know what, people, anybody who's on Twitter, just go change your passwords. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm getting so tired of that. Everything's being hacked. And
I don't care if somebody wants my identity.
What are they
you
going to
can
get
have
Twitter?
it, okay?
But can you link things through Twitter? Is that the danger? So you have something else
Probably.
linked to it? So
yeah, well, I
follow
think
the
we
thread?
actually send out this show on our Twitter feed.
So it goes out.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can do can you reverse engineer it? So
of course you can.
So you can get in through Twitter and then crawl into my bank account.
I don't know. Most bank accounts have a much bigger cyber encryption built in. And the one bank account that I actually have money in, it's only one. The others are all debt, basically. Okay,
they've been seized by the
change
government.
it every quarter. And by the way, I couldn't. You'd have a gun to my head. I've changed it I have no idea what it is.
But I always worry about the dark web and what those people working in the dark web will be able to find out. By the way,
if they want to, it's like if someone really wants to break into your house, guess what? They can break into your house.
They can. By the way, is the dark web someplace is it in a warehouse somewhere where people huddle in the dark room? We're looking under.
It's under the table, Dan. I have no idea what the dark web is.
I don't even know what the dark web is. Okay, when bad news and big ad campaigns collide, what's that about?
Oh, I know you'd ask me that question. And, I don't have the example, but I'm going to use an example. Okay, because this is what happens sometimes in news, and I know you've been there. I'll make it very clear that this is not a true story, but I know that this has happened in the past. A car dealer. Right. For instance, auto dealers are one of the biggest advertisers. Drug companies, big pharma, right? Those are you see ads
with the small print, and then somebody go
exactly. How many words
in the world did they say?
One of
I can die?
That's one of my workshops. Yes. Okay, that you can. How many words can you say in 10 seconds?
I can't do that.
Yes,
that's way too fast.
Yes, you can. Anyway,
that
being said, you're out doing a news story about something happened at the auto dealership. Okay. And you're doing that story, and then sure enough, what happens in commercial media is right after that story airs, a commercial for that auto dealership comes up.
What you're talking
so
about.
I have been on the side of the dealership as a account executive, getting the call, hey, you guys are doing an expose on XYZ auto dealership. Kill our commercials for the week.
Yes. So
I
see, yeah.
That happens.
And sometimes there's poor taste as well. So you'll do something.
Not even sometimes.
So there's like some tragic story that happens in a community, and then the next commercial that rolls, they have somber music as it goes to the commercial break, and the next thing is, we're in the money.
Yeah. Or how about Cars for Kids? I want to kill that commercial.
What is it? We got to do a story on Cars for Kids.
Cars for Kids. Yeah. They've gotten a lot of publicity because of it.
One thing is, that's a song that you always remember.
No, it's as soon as I hear it now, it's like I know the note. One note. I can name that. Bang.
But it's great. See, now that's great branding because you 100%. Know what the one note is. Remember that thing that they used to do on radio stations? Yeah. They do like one note and you have to guess what song it was?
They still do that, by the way, Dan.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
I guess I haven't listened to it in a while. So we got to play that with commercials.
We could do that.
I could do that. I could do the Cars for Kids.
It might be a challenge. It might be a challenge.
Okay.
Night when we have absolutely nothing, as opposed to this show
where we have something.
Yeah,
or just a little something.
Yes.
Okay, and this one now is a little bit more on the serious tone here, of the serious nature. The Redskins cheerleaders and NFL cheerleaders in general. So what happened?
Oh, sorry. In 2013, 5 years ago, okay, things were a little different 5 years ago, weren't they?
Yeah, it was 5 years ago.
No, but I mean, as far as like the empowerment,
I think I was a White House correspondent at that time.
Yes, you were. And
now
there
I'm
was
here across from you.
Right? No, you weren't. You had a real job. Empowerment of the female.
Right.
Or the abused, whether it's male or female.
Right.
Okay. They feel more empowered now and more confident to say, you know what, something happened to me, it was wrong, and now I'm going to talk about it because I've buried it in my subconscious for 10 years.
Right.
In this case, okay. So the NFL, actually, I'm not going to just single out the NFL because most professional sports teams have cheerleaders that are there to provide some kind of entertainment during breaks in the action of the game.
Right.
Okay.
Well, you're being very cautious with how you say this.
I am. Okay. Well, because I think it's a very sensitive issue.
Right.
First of all, I support competitive cheerleading as a sport. A lot of people don't think it's a sport. I do. I think competitive dance is a sport.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And
they fall and hurt themselves.
it's the difference between driving to your neighbors or competitive driving in a race.
Right.
Okay? There's a big difference. When you add competition, then it becomes a sport, a competition.
Exactly.
Okay. In this case, I'm not quite sure what the purpose of the NFL or the NBA. Major League Baseball doesn't have it. And yes, I think hockey has something called the Ice Girls or something. The only purpose that these entities have is to make... Well, no. It's making money off that flesh, Dan.
Right, you're right. No, I agree.
It's making money off that flesh. It's another revenue stream.
It's a way to get people
the
to stick around,
calendar,
to pay attention.
the video,
yes.
right? And because their demographic is predominantly male, they scantily clad these females and put them out there as objects. And we have talked about this.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So, again, what happened is that one of the groups of cheerleaders, in this particular case, the Washington football team's cheerleaders. I don't even like to use the logo.
Yes, that's for another podcast where we'll discuss the controversy around the name. What's in a name?
They were asked by their supervisor to go entertain a group of sponsors on a private boat.
Right.
And on that private boat, there were some consensual games. There was not any assaults. No. It was just an example of the girls felt like, hey, I'm uncomfortable doing this, but I also want to keep my job, which, by the way, pays about $50 to $100 a game.
Right, but they all have other jobs.
They all have other jobs, and they're able to build their
gym teacher or coach or somebody. She's one of the Patriots cheerleaders.
And I've known a few
but
of the
they do get championship rings.
And they get, and not only that, but they have on their resume. And if you're a dancer or a model, this is a good thing to have on your resume. It's prestigious.
Right, so you want to protect that.
But you're also signing up for abuse by males, because it is inherent in the job and where you are doing the job. You're in front of drunken males on Sundays or on photo shoots who have actually bought their way in to the access to the photo shoot because they are sponsors or they're giving money to the team.
Right.
And I'll tell you, I don't like it at all. I don't like the exploitation at all.
And what they had to do at this party, they had to twerk.
They were asked to twerk.
Right.
Which, by the way,
Dan,
who came into your office today and asked you, I hate to admit this. I really don't know what a
Jimmy?
twerk is. Can you explain to me, please, what it is?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Twerking is a form of
provocative dancing, movement.
Dancing, letting the lower back half of your body express itself in many different shapes and forms.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what twerking is all about.
I'm a happy heterosexual male. I can understand the appeal
of twerking.
Yeah, I can absolutely. And if it's consensual and if it is a creative or an artistic expression that has sexual undertones, because we've talked about sex sells. It's why they're making money off these women in their cheerleading outfits.
Right.
Because they're not on the sidelines going, SUCCESS, that's the way we spell success. Yes. No. They're not saying that.
Well, they would, but people would throw stuff at them.
Or throw stuff at me if I was doing it. Right. And by the way, again, they're not going to throw stuff at them, but they could, because they're impulsive. They're escaping from the stresses of their lives. They've had adult beverages, usually the poisonous alcohol that's out there. Don't get me started.
Oh, no.
Okay, don't get me started.
Reverend.
The Reverend.
Preach it.
The Reverend. I'll preach it again. I do preach. I'm sorry. It's just who I am.
So is there some lawsuit? Are they?
There's going to be,
legal
what do they
action.
Call it?
A complaint has certainly been filed.
Yeah, a complaint has been filed.
Right.
And, of course, again, this is more embarrassing to the Washington football team.
Right.
And they're going to have to do something about it. Sensitivity training and all this stuff. By the way, coming up soon, Starbucks, sensitivity training.
That's right.
They're closed May 29th, I think it is.
It's around the corner.
I have it in my calendar right now that I have to get my
Are you going to go and then have it
the day before?
Well, you go the day it's closed, and then you complain.
You complain that it's closed. You're not being
Jimmy,
sensitive.
sitting across from you is much better than covering the White House these days.
Yes.
Much better.
Oh, I can understand
that.
I can understand that.
This has been a wonderful show.
Wait, there's one more thing.
Oh, there's one more.
Real funny. This is funny. This was in...
He's holding up, for those of you
page
listening
A7.
to this, A7, he's holding up a white piece of paper with some writing on it.
Right.
Oh, well,
it's actually an advertisement
Yes.
from the New York Times,
Yes.
page A7. And it says the New York Times wants you to consult other trusted news sources, TOO, but not Fox News. And they come out and they actually said, don't just read the New York Times, read the Wall Street Journal, read the Atlantic, read National Review, watch CNN, because after all, they broke the news.
Right.
Listen to NPR. Charlie Kravitz, you'll love that. Okay, read The Guardian, read The Economist, watch NBC News, read The New Yorker, read the Financial Times. You get this? Do I need to keep going? Because you're not going to hear ABC News. You're not going to hear CBS News. And then they go into MSNBC, read USA Today, but not Fox, not, would it be Breitbart? Would that be one?
Right,
it's not on here. Just saying.
Wow.
And it's an ad.
You didn't share that with me.
I didn't.
You
sprung
kept
that
as
on
a little secret, and that was actually pretty juicy.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a real juicy one.
BBC, NBC, and just,
man, those were great bites.
And it was created and yeah.
So
anyway,
if you enjoyed those bites, we'll check out our site on Facebook, where we like to post lots of interesting things about not only this show.
Right. The video portion of the show is on our Facebook page that we're streaming to live now, unless something went gooey.
We also connect you to link to lots of interesting things
and
happening
also
out there.
CLNSmedia.com, our distribution partner. And in the lifestyles section, you'll find Behind the Media.
Exactly.
As well as another podcast I'm involved with.
Yes, many others.
Yes. I'm leaving it out.
Did you like the show?
Yes.
Like it then.
Oh, sorry.
Share it. Keep listening on iTunes and the CLNS Media Network. For our director, Steve Helmuth, and our producer and social media guru, Alex Barth, I'm Dan Lothian.
And I'm Jimmy Young.
And now you know what's behind the media.
That's a great line. Who gave you that line?
Could it be Jimmy?